It's like you say, perseverance, the whole idea that it's a marathon, not a sprint. There's going to be some slow months, slow weeks, and then there's going to be some booming weeks, so it all balances itself out.
This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
Hey guys, welcome back to this episode. I've got someone really cool that everyone can benefit, even in their own home, an expert in physical therapy. Tom, thanks so much, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate a local physical therapist expert coming to the studio. Physical therapy is something that I've taken a lot of. I've gotten hurt a lot, so I have a high level of respect. And you guys have saved me, so thank you for saving me.
Well, thank you for bringing me in to talk about it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So just to give some context to everyone, let them know, who you are, your level of expertise, like your credibility. Just let everyone know that, the name of your business, what you do, all that good stuff.
Sure. So my name is Tom Lucca. I'm a physical therapist. The company I own and work for is Reach for the Stars Physical Therapy. I'm a home physical therapist, so I don't have an office per se where patients come to see me. I go to the house. A lot of times patients have difficulty getting out of their house safely or don't drive. So there's a lot of need for a therapist to come to the house, which I do. So I'm able to sort of deal with the issues and the problems head on in the house where the problems usually arise.
Right.
So I go in and I rehab people and get them, whip them back into shape, get them on their feet again, get them out of the house safely so they can kind of go about living their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a one-on-one type of a job where I get to work with one patient at a time. I'm not, shuttled around with different people, so I get to actually spend the time with the
personalized
patient.
care.
Yeah, personalized care, one-on-one care, hands-on care that patients really need, as opposed to, you go to an outpatient facility and you may have one therapist with 4 or 5 people that he's bouncing around with, where this is one-on-one care, where the problems exist in the home.
Incredible. Now, I'm sorry, I can't talk about anything else until I talk about one thing, which is you literally have the best voice for radio of anyone that I've ever interviewed in my entire life. And I know everyone who's listening is feeling the same way. Like, all right, so let's be honest. Let's put all the cards on the table. Do you have any experience that required your voice?
Yes. So
just a little bit.
I am an actor, and it's funny because I also have done some voiceover stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not surprised, by the way.
But I actually just did a commercial for the Suffolk Industrial Development Association.
Oh, wow.
So I do some stuff like that. Okay. But I'm a singer, an actor. I've been on Law and Order a couple of times. I've done a lot of off-Broadway stuff. I did a national tour of Oklahoma.
Wow.
I was the bad guy in that, so that was a lot of fun. But that went all over the country. We would sit down for weeks in Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle. Yeah. Really get to see the country nicely that way. Yeah. And I also now do a lot of stuff at the Engelman Theater, the John Engelman Theater in Northport, which is an equity theater. Most of those actors come out from the city, and they do great shows. They always get Broadway names, and it's a great theater to get your acting chops out of. So yes, I do.
All right, so you get to do what a lot of people like dream about doing, which is doing the whole acting thing. That's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh wow. So if anyone right now is like, wait a minute, his voice sounds familiar, it's very well possible that they've heard you before.
They probably have. I mean, I've done some of the last show I did at the theater in Northport at the Engelman Theater was Newsies.
Okay.
They did it I think at the end of last year, and I played Joseph Pulitzer. I was the bad guy in that too. So
by the way, Newsies is one of my wife's favorite.
Is it really?
Favorite shows like of all time. When she was a kid and that movie came out, she watched it obsessively.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Christian Bale.
Yes. So we know it well in my household.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was the bad guy in that.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm a singer, / actor. I don't dance.
Okay.
But I love doing it. So at this point, it's a hobby. When I can make it a career at times, I do. But it's at this point mostly a hobby.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about physical therapy.
Yes.
You're giving a very, very sort of personalized care. It's almost like, if I would think of it, it's almost like the Uber of PT.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So what have you seen the level of interest in the Long Island community for personalized home care?
Well, the thing that I find the most that I encounter is that people aren't aware of that you can actually have therapy in the home, and that insurance, specifically Medicare, will cover it in the home. People think they have to be able to get to a facility to get that type of care. And it's not true. We could come to you, give you the therapy in the house, because again, a lot of people can't, they don't drive. They they're incapacitated, where they are bedbound or wheelchair bound, and they can't get to these facilities. So I come to them and provide the care that they need. And the nice thing about that is you're in the home, so you can see what the problems are, the issues are in the home. Find out where they're having difficulty, whether it's just getting out of the house safely, getting up and down stairs, getting into the shower, in and out of the car. You're actually addressing them head on, as opposed to going to a facility where you're discussing the issues and working on those issues in a facility. You're actually in the home dealing head on with the issues. So it's a much better way of dealing with rehabilitation. And people, the nice thing that I think about it is, again, it's one-on-one. You get your hands on these people without distractions of other patients, of phone calls, of office.
You're focused on one patient.
One patient, and it's hands-on, and it really benefits them, because there's no shifting of focus where you then come back to that person. And what were we talking about? You're there the whole time. So I find it much more personalized care, much better care to really find out what the problems are.
How long have you been in the PT space?
About 20 years. I graduated from Stony Brook in 1998.
Okay.
Worked at a hospital. I've worked at outpatient facilities. I've worked at subacute, meaning rehabilitation places where people go for a few weeks to get better and come home. But I've worked home care, probably all 20, 21 years of that time in some capacity. And that's what I always gravitate toward, because you have the time to spend one-on-one with people, whereas at these other facilities, you're so overwhelmed with not only multiple patients per hour, it could be 4 or 5 people an hour, but then you're dealing with paperwork, phone calls, conversation going on around you. There's such a lack of focus that I find with home care. You're 100% focused on what the problems are. You're getting to know the patient so much better than when they just come and see you. And you're spending your time with 4 or 5 people. I feel like I know these people so much more personally. And it makes them more comfortable, because then they get to know you and they trust you. And you want to try something that's a little scary for them. You have to gain that trust first. And the one-on-one, I feel like, is the only way to really gain the trust.
That's incredible. I agree with you. PT is something that obviously has been around for a while, and a lot of entrepreneurs, when they think about, like, I want to start a business, they think about, I got to come up with a brand new proprietary product. I got to invent something. I got to come up with something brand new. But oftentimes, at least I feel this way, is starting a successful business is simply solving a problem. Right? So I love what you've done is you've taken physical therapy and you've solved a very specific problem and make it this personalized home PT care. That's amazing. It's really incredible. So give me an idea of the response from people, some of your patients that you've worked with, of being able to do this in their home.
Oh, it's overwhelmingly positive. They appreciate it so much. A lot of people have given up on any chance of getting out of their house to go to lunch, to do any of the social activities they want to do.
They get depressed.
And they sit at home. And to have somebody come in and show them the possibilities is just, it's limitless. And it's been, the people I've worked with have been overwhelmingly just amazed at how much better they can get. Yes, so grateful to get this opportunity to be able to do things, try things they're nervous to try. They don't want to get out of the house and go up the steps or go down the steps or get in the car. And we do this hands-on in a very safe manner. And most, I would say 95% of the people can do what they think they can't do. And that's where it really benefits
that's such a great point.
It really is. It's a lot of mental difficulties they have, and if they just do it once or twice, they don't really realize how easy it is, or how easy it can be, to be able to do it.
So what have been some of the benefits for you of being able to you solve this problem? You're going after a market that really could benefit from home care, home PT. You're helping improve their lives, right? When that happens, how have that benefited you to grow your business?
Well, it's definitely solving their problems. And the need is just grown, you know, and a lot of it is word of mouth. Somebody always knows somebody who is in a similar situation that has to, that just can't get out of their house safely. So a lot of it is word of mouth. So it grows that way.
I would imagine that most people don't know that you're an option.
Right, exactly. I come into the house, they have no clue. They almost can't believe it. And when they see that, well, look, Medicare does cover this.
Right.
You know, I have some people, if they don't have Medicare, I have some cash patients that, or totally willing to pay because.
And you help with that process too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely,
Wow.
yeah. So all of that is, Medicare. We bill Medicare, so it's on our end. So really, they just get the benefit of having us come there, and all the paperwork is taken care of. So they just work and concern themselves on getting better.
Now, do they need a referral from like their PCP or someone?
Yes, for Medicare they do. For cash, if they're paying cash, they don't. But for Medicare insurance, they do need a referral from their therapist or from their either their doctor, their nurse practitioner. I mean, I think chiropractors can do it, even podiatrists. So can get that referral and write the order for it. Because we do, for Medicare, we do have to have the doctor. We're in constant contact with the doctor, and they're the ones. They're sort of the gatekeepers. So they open the door to allow us to come in to see the patient, and that's how it works with Medicare.
I gotcha.
But as far as a cash patient, no, there's no. It's just whatever they're willing to do. It could be 1 time a week. It could be 1 time a month. It could be 3 times a week. So it's whatever they think they'll benefit from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you came up with this great idea, home physical therapy. How did you go about solving the problem of all the equipment? Like you go to a typical physical therapy office and it's it looks like a gym.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So put our mind at ease. Like, how did you solve that problem?
Well, I worked, most of who I work with are an older population, a geriatric community, which most of those people would not benefit from some of that equipment, those, the universal equipment.
Sure.
The problem with some of those is it limits their motion.
Yeah.
We do a lot of hands-on, so it's a lot of, whether it's soft tissue work, but strengthening, balance, it's a lot of things that you don't need all of that equipment.
Right. It's like having a personal trainer.
It really is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you don't really need all of that stuff. I mean, there's a benefit to it, but it's so much better to get your hands on the patient, and whether it's using things like ankle weights or TheraBand, the elastic bands.
Yeah. And you bring all this with you?
We bring this with us.
Oh, wow. So the patient doesn't have to supply any of that?
Nothing. Yeah, nothing at all. Yeah,
wow.
It's all brought into the house. And it's the basic stuff, but it's what you do with it. It's how you use the stuff. And a lot of what we do, a lot of patients I have balance issues. So what you do is you get them on their feet and work all these balance muscles and do things that make them uncomfortable to improve their balance. So I have some balance equipment that I would bring into the house to just create more stable, environment, and really, make the patients better as far as their balance is concerned. So a lot of this stuff we just bring in. The patients don't need anything at all.
Right. And it's not something where it's like you just come in once, be like, oh, this is what you have to do, and you leave.
No,
you really support them.
You stay on. Yep, you stay on. Usually it's a couple of times a week.
Okay.
Medicare they're pretty good with therapy. So they'll allow me to stay in a couple of times a week for 6 to 8 weeks, let's say, if that's what's needed.
Right.
They want to see Medicare does want to see improvement, which we can then document. They also want somebody to come in that's a skilled clinician. So they don't want somebody just coming and giving exercises, because anybody can do that. So there's usually a medical need, so we have to kind of keep an eye on whether it's blood pressure or respiratory rate or or pulse ox, their oxygen levels in their blood. We've got to kind of manage all of that. So that would be considered a skill that we can do. That's what allows Medicare to keep us in there as long as it's a skilled visit. So
gotcha. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the health and wellness space. What would you say would be one of the challenges that you experienced, sort of like starting and growing your business?
Well, the initial fear of trying to take on something yourself is a little intimidating at first. Because you do want to grow that client population. You want people to hear about you, and that's, like you say, that's a difficult thing. People don't know about it, so they're not aware of it.
Right.
They think their only options are to go to a facility. So getting that word of mouth out there has been a challenge. But again, word of mouth between patients has worked. But you have to sort of get out there in all different resources, whether it's communicate with doctors, word of mouth, mailings, going into different communities, 50-05 and older communities that may have, a certain client base that, can't get out safely. And it's a lot of education and letting them know that you're available to help them.
Right.
So that's been hard, though. So trying to grow my patient base has been difficult.
Listen, I understand the discouraging element of growing a business is, when someone has a viable product or a viable service and they genuinely believe that what they do helps people, and they're just it's not landing, they're not reaching people. I understand it's easy to get discouraged. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I actually think that perseverance is a large part of being an entrepreneur.
Right.
That first, if you've already developed your skill set, like as a physical therapist, like yourself, I think the next thing internally that you have to develop is the ability to be to persevere.
Right.
To have good self-discipline, to be
Absolutely,
able
yeah.
to be a little bit resilient to all the no's that you're going to get and
Right,
push
right.
through. Because I really believe if someone has a viable product, a viable service, and they genuinely are good at what they do, there's a place for you in the marketplace.
Yeah, and if you believe in what you do too, that's
Oh,
what I
God.
feel like. I believe so much in how it can benefit people.
Yeah.
That I guess that alone, not alone, but that
Yeah.
can help sell it because you believe in it so much, and you know
Right.
you've seen people get better, and
Yeah.
you know the benefits of it. So it makes
Sure.
it easier to sell it if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But you're really selling something you believe in.
Yeah, yeah.
you
Well,
know?
actually, you're selling without selling at that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
though.
You're communicating what you do,
Yeah.
and people find that so interesting, and that's what opens that door up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes it so much easier to
Yeah.
sell what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so then it's tip time. So I've got a question. You're a physical therapist. Obviously, you know everything and anything about this world, and you can save everyone's life.
All right.
All right. So you mentioned someone who's got balance issues. Do you deal with patients that have like back issues?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone who is dealing with some back issues and it's like it's localized at the center of their back, and it could be an older patient or whatever. By the way, does the type of recommended treatment depend on the age of the patient?
Yeah, it can. Yeah,
It can.
Because if somebody has something like osteoporosis where the bones have gotten weak, you have to be a little gentler with them.
Yes.
If it's if it's arthritis in the spine, let's say if you're talking about low back, if arthritis, that's treated a little bit differently than somebody who has like a herniated disc
Yes.
or stenosis.
Right.
Those are the spine is so complicated that you
Yes.
have to know what the diagnosis is before you know how
I
to
gotcha.
start, and it could be almost opposite treatments.
Yeah.
Certain things could make somebody with stenosis better, but may not make somebody with a herniated disc better. So you have to know what the diagnosis is
Yeah.
before you start treatment. But
Yes.
it's so diagnosis dependent on what it is you
Right.
do. But a lot of it is strengthening the core, range of motion in the spine,
Okay.
range of motion in the legs, strengthening in the legs. A lot of it can be similar, but
Yes.
it's how you handle each person that
Yeah.
can be a little different.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
What would you say be the value of being able to invest yourself into like completely committing into the process of working hard for anyone who's like interested in maybe like growing their business? They're struggling to grow their business, but they firmly believe in what they do. They genuinely have a good viable product or service, but they're struggling right now. What value do you place on commitment to working hard?
Oh, it's 100%. It's what's going to help grow your business. It's like you say, perseverance. The whole idea that it's a marathon, not a sprint. There's going to be some slow months, slow weeks, and then there's going to be some booming weeks. So it all balances itself out. But you just got to push through it. And if you believe in it so much, it could take 10 years. It's a little bit like with the acting that I do. I mean, there's a lot of rejection with that. Perseverance and staying with it will, open doors down the line that may not have been open in your 20s, let's say.
Sure.
Same thing with a business. I keep pushing forward with it and getting the word out there, and it's been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
But it's a process. It's a process of getting people to understand what you do, and it just takes time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if you believe in it, it's the way to go, and just push through 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, earlier you mentioned that you find a lot of your business through word of mouth, connecting with doctors. All of this is like communication. What does that communication process look like for you when someone who is in need of your service, right? And they're reaching out to you. Do you have a website? Like, do they first do you call them? Do they talk to you? If they have questions, can they ask you these questions?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like?
Well, they could call me directly if they've gotten my number from either a card or a doctor or word of mouth.
Okay.
And the first means of communication usually is a phone call. So if they call me, they want to know exactly what I do, what insurances I take, things like that, and how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
So that's that explanation at first through phone call.
Yes.
But it could be anywhere through. I mean, I advertise in certain publications. They may see
Sure.
it that way.
Yeah.
But that's usually the process is a phone call first.
Yes.
They get to know you, through your voice, and hopefully they trust you enough that then, because they have to then invite you to the house, which is hard for people.
It's a big deal.
Especially if somebody lives alone. They don't.
course.
They don't want to bring anybody.
Of course.
They don't know into the house. So they got to trust you. So usually through the website, I've gotten some leads through the website, through some advertisements, and mostly through word of mouth.
I
A
gotcha.
conversation starts, and then I eventually get into the house and do the evaluation.
You're in a relationship business.
Yeah.
Relationships are so important, I would imagine.
Yeah,
in what
yeah.
you do.
To get that trust, you have
Oh,
to gain
yeah.
that trust. Yeah.
Right,
so,
right.
And then that person, hopefully they're happy with your work, and
Yeah.
they will say, look, there's this option for you, a friend
Yeah.
of theirs or a relative or something.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go from there. It's almost like a branching of a tree.
Right,
Like that whole
right.
Kevin Bacon,
Yeah,
whatever
7 degrees of
is to say,
separation.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You just
right,
start
right.
to know everybody from one person, and it just
Yeah.
branches from there. But
Yeah.
that's how it usually works.
Wow. I would also imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if you're dealing, let's say, primarily it's the elderly community, and I'm not saying that's only your patients, right? You do deal with probably a lot of patients, but do you also maybe get a lot of phone calls, interest from family of these people?
Yes. Yeah, that happens a lot. Because
It
a lot of
does.
times the patients themselves may not want to reach out, but a family member will see the need
Yes.
that patient has.
Yeah.
So they'll often reach out and say,
They probably have a zillion questions.
yeah,
for you.
yeah. They'll have a lot of questions, and then I'll finally get in touch with
Sure.
the patient, and hopefully gain their trust, because
Yeah.
they can be a little, unsure of somebody
Resistant
coming. Right,
to it,
exactly.
yeah.
Some people feel like, I'm fine. They don't see what their potential is
Yeah,
until
yeah.
somebody comes in and shows them where the problems are and where you can go
Yes.
from there. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Family members definitely.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say would be the benefit of being able to leverage PT to get physically able to get up, even just get up and walk again, freely, maybe pain free?
Yeah.
What does that do to the individual's person's mind?
Their mental state.
Yeah.
It just opens up so many possibilities for them.
Yeah.
So they're not confined to a recliner chair in their dining room or living room.
Yeah.
There's a possibility to get to the kitchen, and then there's a possibility to safely get to their bedroom, and then there's a possibility to get out of their house eventually.
Oh,
and
They're getting their independence back now.
Right. Some people can't even get in and out of a
Wow.
car. They may need to take like ambulances to different.
Oh my gosh.
And that's an expense.
And PT can actually help.
Them get them comfortable getting
Wow.
out of their cars. Yeah, because some of them don't trust their ability to get in
Yeah.
and out, even into the passenger seat. A family member
yeah,
wants to
yeah,
take them out
yeah.
to lunch. No,
Yeah.
I can't do that. So
Yeah.
it just opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah, that's another whole big angle, is even educating the public, the value on simply helping someone to get into a car.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
important.
God,
It's not
yeah.
about like, oh, you need PT because we're going to get you back on the football field
Yeah,
again. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
people don't understand the value of being able to just get parts of their life back.
Right.
Simple things like getting up from a chair, getting back into bed on your
Right,
own.
right,
So those are
right.
all big steps mentally, and I'd be like, if you can help heal that process, I feel like they'll live longer.
Yeah, and they'll live happier because their
Yeah.
mental outlook will be good.
Wow.
And the fact that they're going to become more independent,
Yeah.
with what they're doing, they're going to be more confident, and
Yes.
they're going to try new things because they've
Wow.
been able to, see this possibility. Well, then maybe there's this possibility
Yes.
we can try, and that allows you to sort of try all
Yeah,
these different
yeah, yeah.
possibilities that they would have never dreamed to do.
That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
It's such a, I love it because
Yeah.
it really. It just makes you feel great when you see somebody that was so sure that they couldn't do this, and this. They could do this, and this.
Yeah.
It's like it makes the
That's
job
really
satisfaction
special.
good.
Yeah, what an emotional moment for someone who probably has been living in pain, debilitated, haven't been able to move. They work
Yep.
with you for a few weeks, a few months, and all of a sudden they're doing the tasks
possibilities, yeah,
that they did years
They
ago,
would
and you're helping
never
them.
have
That's
believed.
amazing.
Yeah, it really is a nice feeling.
Right.
So the job satisfaction is
Yeah.
high with this
Yeah,
type of
you're
thing
changing
because-
people's lives.
Right, and then you're there in that one-on-one environment
Yeah.
to actually communicate
Yes.
the joy that they're
Yes.
having, as opposed to, I got to go to my next person
Yes.
now. But you'll be happy on your, you actually really the
Right.
rapport that
Right.
you develop with these people, you become
Right.
friends with them.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they really,
Yeah.
they show how happy they can be, and you get to really
Yeah.
respond to that.
That's
Which
incredible.
is nice.
Yeah, I mean, the one piece of advice that I always give to people who are like interested in maybe starting a business, I always tell them, I was like, find something that you yourself are good at, that you love, that helps to solve a problem.
Right.
If you get those three things, it's the trifecta.
Oh, God.
And
If
then
you
you
can do
will
that-
find success.
Right, things will come to you,
Right.
and that will come. You won't have to sell it as much because
Right.
you've solved the problem. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing is trying to solve that problem, find that
Yeah.
niche that you can solve.
Wow.
And get in there and
Yes.
and become that person that solves the problems for people. Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Well, I know that everyone right now wants you to like be the magician and help them out, like whatever it is. So where can people find you if they have a question?
Sure. So my website is reachforthestarspt.com. So www.reachforthestarspt, all one word.com. That's probably the best way to find me, I think. My phone number's on there. My email's on there. My email is also reachforthestarspt at gmail.com. So
Okay.
reachforthestarspt at gmail.com. There's that
Gotcha.
option. And my website has a lot of my information
It does.
about me and what I
Okay.
do and things like that. So you can get most of the information that way, and then we can call and talk about what the needs are.
Yeah.
Of the,
That phone call is
the
probably
patient.
really important.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot of information gets conveyed
Okay.
through the phone call.
Yes.
And then really through that first meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely does.
So you got to educate your public, because I think more people need to know about
Yeah.
you. You should start a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, a podcast.
You should, you guys, right? If you believe that he should start a podcast, everyone should be like commenting like crazy just to hear your voice.
I got the
first of all.
voice for it, right?
Without a doubt, honestly, like because what you know and your experience, what you've done,
Yeah.
I think is so valuable.
Yeah.
And I know we've already talked about it, that it's simply awareness, that you get a lot of your business from referrals. They have a great experience, so they recommend you, and then you go in there like, oh, I didn't know this existed. Honestly, I think more people need to know about you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I
it's
think
really you're changing people's lives.
Yeah, it really is. It's the word of mouth and
Yeah.
getting, and people just don't know about it. And
Yeah.
once they do, I think 100%.
Yeah.
I have never been turned away when people find out the benefits of it and what it is that I do and what I can do for
Right.
them. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Now, have you ventured off in the social media space? Can they also maybe find you there?
Yeah, I mean, I have so I have a Facebook page.
Perfect.
It's Reach for the Stars Physical Therapy. I think if
Okay.
you search on the Facebook page,
Yeah.
You can pull that.
Yeah.
I don't have an Instagram.
Okay.
I know I got to probably get one of those.
All
It's
right.
all these like social media things that I need
Yeah.
to sort of develop. But,
Yeah.
Yes.
But people can find you.
But people can find me. Yeah.
All right,
If
great.
you search Google Reach for the Stars Physical
They're
Therapy,
gonna find you.
that will pop right up. Yep,
Okay, gotcha.
definitely.
All right, awesome. Any last bits of information? Is there any reason that people should be hesitant about reaching out to help solve a problem related to PT?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a physical need that people have, and a lot of
Yeah.
times people don't realize they even
Yeah.
have that desire to try to push themselves. You know,
Yes.
if somebody's been home for 10 years and hasn't gotten out of their chair for
Yeah.
for months, they may not even realize what their potential is. So
Wow.
allowing us to come in and show them what their potential
Yeah.
is just it's a game changer.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anybody I've ever worked with that wasn't able to do more than they even thought they could do. Because it's just showing them what they're capable
Yeah.
of. Just opens up so many doors for
Yeah.
them.
And it sounds like you genuinely want to help people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
That's amazing. All right, so if anyone is in need of in-home PT care, I would say that, listen, if anyone actually needs help, I would call you because honestly, I think your voice will heal them. I think that your skills on helping people to develop their core, I think everyone at the very least should just call you and let the conversation then take flight at that point. And we'll actually leave a link to your website in the copy below, so this way that people can find it easier as well. Honestly, it's a joy. Thanks so much.
Oh, I appreciate
Honestly,
it.
thanks so
It's a
much
pleasure.
for coming out. I highly respect people in your space. I highly respect people who has invested into knowing a lot, and clearly you've studied.
Yes.
You've got the background and you know your stuff.
Yeah.
And so I highly respect that. And I wish you nothing but the best, honestly.
you. Well,
I hope you blow up Long Island and you heal everyone.
And
that'd
then
be
sing
great.
to them too.
Yeah, and then sing with you. All right. Wow, that's like a whole angle. You can be like the in-home singing
The
PT
singing
guy.
physical therapist. That's right. It works.
That's the name of your show, by the way. Done. Oh my gosh, amazing, guys. Well, anyway, thanks you for tuning in. Definitely go follow this guy. He's amazing at what he does. He can help you as well. And remember, don't fear the process and don't fear grit.